We want to start reviewing whiskey for the people, for the public, for you. Whiskey that's easily accessible. Whiskey that you can go to your liquor stores and you can find, and you want to know, is this good? Is this delicious? Well, that's what we're going to do today. We're going to review Still Austin, the Musician. Now, this is a straight bourbon whiskey. Let's find out in this episode of Whiskeys how it tastes. And so here we have Still Austin, the Musician, straight bourbon whiskey. Now this come as a gift from my sister-in-law down in Texas there. So
it's nice.
Thank you, sis.
That.
Appreciate that. Appreciate the gift. Yeah, that is awesome. That's amazing. You just moved above your other sister. Just moved above her. Maya, you need to step your game up. But anyway, interesting thing about this particular whiskey is it won a lot of awards. I believe back in 2021 or 22, it won in the San Francisco Spirit Awards. It just says here that it won an award, but it doesn't say what year. It did win double gold. So it's supposed to be very delicious. Now, I already sampled it and I know it's good. We wanted to give a proper review of it and let you know exactly what I enjoyed about it and if I recommend it or not. So let's go ahead and get into it. So the Musician. Why is it called the Musician? Well, the reason why it's called Musician is because when they made this, they were thinking about how musicians often bring people together. You go to concerts, you go to plays, or whatever the case may be. Oftentimes you have people of different ethnicities, different backgrounds, and they bring people together, and they generally speaking are at a happy place. They wanted to make a bourbon the same way, to where it brings people together, makes people happy, and they're in a good place. So that was the theme, or the idea of the Musician. Now, this is a 2-year-old whiskey, which a lot of people will poo-poo on, basically saying, oh, it's only 2 years old, but it comes from Texas. So you think about that. Texas is known for being hot. And in Austin, I believe on average from late spring to early fall, on average 98 degrees. Temperature can get as high as 113 degrees. So when you think about when you're making a particular whiskey, to be able to sit in the sun that long, it's going to do something to those barrels, and you're going to get a lot of effect. And that's really any whiskey maker will tell you, is that they want those barrels to be, that whiskey to kind of break down that fiber. When you got heat involved, it really helps with that. So you don't have to age whiskey as long to get good flavor from it down in Texas, because they got that Texas heat down there. Oh yeah, they got that Texas heat. We was down to Houston one year, and oh my goodness, I believe the sun was born in Texas. The actual sun was created in Texas, and then it went to the places. All right.
Do I even need to say?
And so, interesting thing about Still Austin is it's all grain to glass, meaning that everything that they do, they grow it right in their own farms. So their corn, their rye, their barley, their wheat. If they have a wheat whiskey, I don't know yet. I haven't seen it, but I'm sure they do. But everything they do is grain to glass. It is a craft distillery. And so that's why you're generally speaking going to pay a little bit more for something that comes from a distillery that does it all. Because a lot of people source, and they usually, generally speaking, get cheaper grains just to bring it home to ferment it or do whatever the case may be. But they take pride in what they really do down in Still Austin. So now, what they use for their mash bill, it is a 70% non-GMO white corn that they have. Then they have one called Auburn Rye. It's an Auburn Rye they use. And then they also use a Wildfire malted barley. And basically what that is, it is a two-row barley, type of two-row barley. And it is supposed to be really good when it comes to maturation. And I believe that the barley is often used in making beer. And so there you go. You got all the facts. Now you want to know how the whiskey tastes. Let's get into it. And so, like I said, thank you again, sis. Appreciate you. Still Austin. Do we recommend it? Now, it does run about $40 to $45. So it is a little bit on the pricier side. It is 98 proof. So let's go ahead and see what we can get in the flavor notes of this one. So it's softer on the nose, and that's even coming from my smaller Glen. First thing I get on the nose is like a honey that comes through, honey and a little bit of caramel. And that's pretty much it. So the nose is decent. Let's go ahead and see how it tastes. Yeah. This is where it shines. And that's on the initial sip. The first thing I get is like a wave of honey that comes through. You do get a little bit of those rice spices. There's a little cocoa and a coffee note. I'm trying to think of that Italian dessert that you get, but y'all know what I'm talking about. I'll maybe put your picture up, let you know. But it tastes just like that. This right here. What was it over here? Wherever I had the most room, I'll put that little dish up. But it's really good. Let me go for a second sip. This is going to give my accurate assessment because I like to warm my palate up. But this one, I always enjoy whiskeys that really hit the initial palate and warm it up deliciously. That's what this does. Let's go ahead to that second sip. Yeah. So that orange turned into a little orange honeysuckle. I mean, that honey turns into a little orange honeysuckle. And then you do get a little pumpernickel rye. It does have a little cocoa in there with some coffee. The finish is not as strong. It does kind of fall off a little bit, but the mouthfeel is there. It's good. It is soft. It is a little smoother whiskey. It does have a lot of going on with it. You can definitely taste the char. So I'm gonna say that this is a really, really, really good whiskey. 98 proof. Not a bad proof point. Basically, just call it 100 proof. What are we doing here, right? 100 proof whiskey. Ain't nobody gonna say 98.4. It's 100 proof whiskey. What would I compare it to? I know I mentioned it looks like the Wild Turkey 101. It does taste a little bit better than the Wild Turkey 101, but I would say that it's definitely in that wheelhouse. The Wild Turkey 101 does have a longer finish, I will say that, but I think the flavor is better in this pour. And they're both standard whiskeys. So yeah, I would put it in that ballpark, maybe Wild Turkey 101 or maybe Evan Williams, but this is a little bit more pricier. And the reason for that is because you're paying for a craft distillery, a distillery that literally produces its own grains. Everything is non-GMO, it's organic. And so that's what you're paying for. So if you're into organic, if you're into non-GMO type of stuff, this is the whiskey for you. Runs about 40 to 45 bucks. Yeah, it's solid. It's good. You know, it's got nice notes in it. I highly recommend it. Still Austin. Grain to glass, meaning that everything that they make down there in Texas goes right to the glass. Thank y'all for joining another episode of Whiskey Eats. And like we always say, please always drink moderately and responsibly. Y'all have a good day. Take care.